y'all. Welcome to another episode of the BS4 podcast. I'm your host, Bravia, and I feel like today's episode is a little bit of a continuation of last episode. And before someone's dog is barking, barking. Ay, ay, ay. I'm so sorry, y'all, if y'all can hear that. I apologize. I feel like today's episode is a little bit of a continuation of last week's episode, and I want to preface you guys, my brain is like not fully functioning. Okay, today the B is for brain. Bria, have it work. Maybe that would be great. Lucky twin. Okay. This week's episode is a continuation of last week's episode, and I am saying this because I do not want you to worry about me. Okay? I am just in a little bit of like an introspective season right now, and a season where I'm changing. And instead of trying to act like everything is perfect, or instead of just putting stuff out to put it out, I guess, I would rather just be honest about this transition period. But I'm a very strong person. My mental fortitude and my discipline is strong, you guys. You do not have to worry about me. I'm fine. Like, truly. Matter of fact, I was gonna get all cute for this episode, and Natalia, Alexandra, and Mars are coming over for a girls' night tonight, and I'm hosting. And I was like, I just feel like being cozy. I'm going to put some eye patches on, and I'm just going to be me and sit right back on this couch. So that is what I did. So if you're watching, this is what I look like on an average weeknight. Although it is Saturday night, but yeah. If you were listening, sure, go to YouTube. Look at me with some eye patches on. Like I said, though, I feel like I'm just in a transition period right now, and I think it's beautiful. I think that it's beautiful and terrifying to like watch yourself evolve. And I recently have been just feeling a little bit disconnected from the pod, if I'm being honest. I think there's a lot of layers that go into it. I'm trying to post more on social media while also being super busy at work right now, and trying to like get a little bit more social time in, because frankly I haven't in a long time, and I'm trying to like find the balance between everything and also record and film the pod. And something that's outside of like the life circumstances, right? Which like everybody has. And I think those are things that you can push through. I've just been feeling detached from the pod right now because I feel like I haven't really known what I want to talk about lately. And honestly, I'm kind of getting this kick of imposter syndrome. And I know that I have an old episode talking about imposter syndrome, and it's so funny how you evolve. It will like come back in different seasons or about different things. And I've been doing this podcast for a year and a half now, and I've never missed an episode. Literally, I've never missed a drop date, not once. But lately, I just have been like dragging my feet on filming, and debated for 2 seconds, like, oh, do I release an episode next week? I'm just not feeling it. And it's not that I'm not feeling it or that I don't love doing this. It's actually, I have this fear of coming off preachy and honestly coming off as like a know-it-all. And I wanted to kind of live think through like why that is or where that comes from, but I think it's been making it really hard for me to record lately. I sometimes just feel like I have to actually be an expert in things to speak on them, one. And two, I feel like my mind is always evolving, and sometimes when I say things and have a stance or like a firm opinion or a firm statement on something, it like removes the ability to evolve it, which is so untrue. Like when you say something you can change your mind the next second. I think the difference is when it's on a podcast and when it's put on the internet, you feel like you can't say the wrong thing or change your mind. Or if you do change your mind, someone will have an old video of you from 10 years ago that is you having a different opinion and you've changed your mind since then, but you still have like this footprint of you having a different opinion prior. And I don't know, I just was really curious why I feel like that's so prominent for me right now and why I've been feeling like afraid, I guess, to come off as a know-it-all. Or and people have made comments to me like it's really bold or it's really brave to like do a podcast that's kind of like about self-improvement or self-understanding, especially like when you're young and you're this and you're that. And I get it. And I like feel that way too sometimes, honestly. And I know that like I have something to share with the world, and whoever receives it is meant to. But I also think everyone has the right to do that and calling to do that. And we're all meant to create, and the receivers of our creations are the ones that are meant to. And like, that's what we're here to do. But for whatever reason, I'm sometimes like, yeah, just getting a little bit of imposter syndrome. So I was like, instead of like sitting here and like unpacking like what is imposter syndrome and like how to break it down and how to like work through it, like I already have a whole episode on that, and it's in season 1, and it's still like one of my most listened to episodes today. So I don't feel like I need to really break down imposter syndrome. I almost feel like I need to break down like this thought process and why I'm doing it. And so I kind of figured I would just do it on the mic with you guys. And so something that I do is, so I'm a Claude girly. I've shifted over to Claude. I really like it. An AI conversation is for another time, but I use it a lot for business and sometimes to kind of unpack my thoughts. And the resources that I can pull from it are amazing. Like it really actually is helpful. I've shared with it, researchers that I really like. I've shared with it podcast hosts I really like, entrepreneurs I really like, philanthropists I really like. Did I say philosophers? Yeah. I don't know. I've shared with it a lot of places that I like to pull information from. And then I also challenge it to pull information that's like the opposite of those things so that I can get like a well-rounded view. And so I've like trained the model pretty well to know me and how to challenge me, and also kind of just like how I think. And so today I just was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Claude and I'm going to tell Claude this like feeling, problem, issue, whatever you want to call it, this season that I'm in. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. It's just like something I'm trying to navigate and figure out because I'm in a transition. But I go to Claude and I was like, okay, I've been feeling detached from the podcast. I feel like I haven't known what to talk about lately. I'm feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome. I don't like listening back to the podcast on episodes and feeling like I'm preaching. I kind of have a weird insecurity of coming off like a know-it-all. This has been making recording really hard lately, and I'm not sure where it stems from or what to do about it, but I've never missed an episode or drop date in a year and a half, and I'm dragging my feet to record an episode right now. And I'm like the most last minute I've been with the pod ever. And I was like, based on the problem that I have, please provide advice based on resources that feel applicable to this situation and also things that I've shared with you previously, as well as experts in this space. But please do not hold back if you think I need a kick in the ass, and give your best advice. And that's how I prompted it. Like that was literally the prompt. And what it came back with was actually so valid. And part of its response to me really just gave me new perspective on the situation and how I'm thinking about it and how to feel about it. And like the thing is, Claude will clock you. If you tell it like how you want it to connect with you and speak to you and share information with you, it will clock your shit. Okay? So I know like AI a lot is like I hated how ChatGPT kissed my ass. Like ChatGPT would always just be like, you could tell ChatGPT that you cheated on your wife or something, and ChatGPT would be like, but honestly, you were just doing what you felt like you needed to do in that moment. And honestly, it's really brave of you. Like, please spare me. Please spare me. Please don't kiss my ass. Like, spare me. Like, girl, you were dead wrong. I don't know why I call AI girl, but she's girl. Anyways. So yeah, I feel like ChatGPT would do that, and then I like would try and change its tone and it wouldn't work. Claude though, Claude be listening. I give Claude instructions, it locks it in. Like the way it's just the model is so chef's kiss. As someone who also works in tech consulting, like Claude for sure is my fave. Large language model for stuff like this. But anyways, this is not an AI episode. So anyways, it got back to me and it was like, and I'll read you literally some of what it said, and I feel like it's so valid, and I want to share this with y'all because I rather like build in public than like try to be perfect all the time and not actually show the journey. And I think that there's more humanity involved in like me going through this process and sharing it and knowing like I'm okay and I'm going to be okay coming out on the other side of this, and this is going to evolve as I evolve. And if you like stick with me through the journey, hell yeah. And if there's something, like I said, that you get from this, hell yeah. Great. But anyway, so it was like, all right, here's a kick in the ass first, since you asked for it. I think a part of you already knows it. The dread isn't really a what do I talk about problem. 18 months without missing a drop tells me discipline was never your issue. So when discipline suddenly slips, that's not just a slump to grind through, it's information. Something about this version of the show has stopped feeling like yours, and the deadline is just where it's surfacing. That first part is so accurate because it's not like I want to stop doing the pod. And it's not like I don't want to record or don't want to put episodes out. It's just that I don't feel like the things that I usually talk about or like the flow of things is the same as it has been because I'm evolving. So I'm trying to figure out what I like want to talk about and what I want to put out there. And yeah. And so it went on to say on the preachy know-it-all thing, there's a researcher, Valerie Young, who spent decades studying imposter syndrome. And Valerie Young is actually the researcher that I pulled the information from the imposter syndrome episode from, like her research, her studies, her publishings, because she's the one who like really coined it, I would say. So it said Valerie Young spent decades studying imposter syndrome and identified a pattern she calls the expert type, quote unquote. Someone who feels like they're not allowed to speak until they fully have mastered the subject, and who feels fraudulent the second they sound certain about anything. That tracks with what you're describing because you're not actually scared of being wrong. You're scared of sounding like you think that you are right, which means you're punishing yourself for the exact thing that makes a podcast work, having a take. And I was like, damn, yeah, because I'm really not afraid of being wrong. I'm actually more afraid of coming off like I feel like I'm right. If that makes sense. Like, I know that I always evolve and I know that my mind is constantly changing, and literally day-to-day basis, I feel like I'm like discovering something new about myself, or something's changing, or my opinion's changing, or I'm seeing something in a new light, like literally every day. Like my feelings yesterday were not my feelings today. Like I watched, like even in the last dead ass 24 hours, I just like watched myself make a big shift that I did not expect from myself. And if that is possible, then certainly, of course, I'm going to be wrong in a lot of case scenarios. And that's not what I'm afraid of. I'm just more afraid of it coming off like I think like I'm right. Because I know that my takes and the way that I explain things and my opinions and how I process things and what I put out there may be wrong. It may be wrong for you. And I'm okay with that. It's more so having people see that I'm okay with that and me not wanting to come off like I always think like I'm right. You know? And I feel like how it just gave me that rundown is actually so helpful for me to like process that. And I do think it's important that we all have takes. I do think it's important that we have opinions and ideas and approaches that are unique to us or that we stand on. But I also know that those things evolve and people change and I change. And I don't want to be viewed like, yeah, I think that I know all of it because I don't. But then Brene Brown draws a line around this. I love Brene Brown. She's researched vulnerability for like 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years. She's done a ton of research on what vulnerability means, why it's so important, how the scariest thing ever in the human experience is being vulnerable. And her research is amazing. Highly recommend it. She actually just did an episode recently with Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. And that episode is incredible. She's incredible. I've loved her research. I've read her books. I think she's, yeah. And I was reminded of what she says. She said sharing from your scars versus sharing from your open wounds is different. So whether you've actually like metabolized something enough to offer it or you're just bleeding on the mic. And right now I don't feel like I'm bleeding on the mic. I feel like I've processed some of this and I want to share it. And I'm still going through the process, but I'm not okay, you know? And she's just as clear about the opposite of failure. Polishing a take until it sounds like a TED Talk instead of a conversation is when things can feel preachy. And what I want to avoid is talking at people with conclusions instead of with you, still kind of living inside the questions that I have. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, is just have the conversation with you instead of feeling like I have to have the answer at the moment. I think there's also beauty in not having the answer. I think there's beauty in the journey and the thought process itself. And I think of like, there's science equations that literally took 10, 11, 12 years to solve with numerous scientists and brains working on it. And I think sometimes we just want to have answers to our questions about ourselves, about what to do, about how life should work, about how people should operate. But sometimes it takes a long time to like find the answer. And I think right now, instead of being like, oh, the answer to me not being connected to the podcast is XYZ, and let me tell you all about it, I'd rather just be like, hey, I'm asking this question right now and I'm trying to figure it out. And this is my thought process on it. And I'm going to share that journey with you. And so here we are. Maybe like something in this thought process will help you kind of like navigate something you're thinking about. I don't know. But yeah, I just would rather do that. So we're doing that. And then Claude shared with me Austin Kleon's argument in Show Your Work. It said, people don't actually want your finished wisdom. They want your process. And I was like, yeah. Yeah. Like, I think that wisdom is beautiful. And I think I'm still young and I have a lot of wisdom to gain. And I think wisdom comes through lived experience. Therefore, I don't think I am the wisest. I think I'm wise for my age, but I don't think I'm the wisest person by any means. I think I'm knowledgeable to an extent, but like, I'm not trying to sit here and be like, yeah, I for sure have the answers. Like, no. And that's not what I want this podcast to be. I don't want like my word to be everything or like the end all be all, or one opinion remain the opinion. And I think that's what I've just kind of been struggling with, is coming off that way. And I recently had this dream, actually. So I had a dream about this person that I had been thinking about, and like interactions that I had with this person, and like why things happen between us the way that they happen between us. And in my dream, this person came to me and told me the things that they did not like about what I did in the situation together. And I was like, okay. And I actually went back after I woke up. So I wake up and I'm like, whoa, that dream felt really real. And those examples were really specific. And so it's like, you know what? I'm going to be curious. I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to like go back and find these conversations. And it was referring to like voice memos that I had with this person. Specifically, like in the dream, this is what I was told, these voice memos, these scenarios. So I go back to our text messages, I go back and listen to the voice memos, and I'm understanding why those things bothered that person at that time. And it's crazy that I got this like through a dream, but it made me realize like I'm just in this space right now where I don't want to, I don't want to be, though I had the best of intentions, I understand why this person may not have, I could understand. I don't know if this person feels this way. This came to me in a dream. Okay. But like, I could understand where this person would have felt as though I either came off preachy or had an opinion or whatever. And now in hindsight, I would have changed the way that I responded to certain things or had those conversations. And like in the same way that I was able to go back and listen to what I said and know that my opinion has changed since, or know that I've evolved since, or know that I can do better since then, that moment. I guess also my old podcast episodes are a reminder and resemblance of that as well. But I also want to share with the people listening that like, it's okay to evolve. It's okay to change. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to put stuff out there, look back and know that you don't like it, and know that that's a part of your journey. And I'm telling myself this too, but I'm also, still navigating it. Like I'm definitely not like over it because I'm clearly talking about figuring it out as we speak. But I just want to get on the mic and think about what it sounds like if I let myself be curious instead of arriving at an answer. And so this is me doing that. I just want to be curious, and I may not have the answer right now, but this is what it sounds like being curious. So all this to say, I'm figuring things out right now, and I just wanted to be vulnerable a bit and share that like I'm not trying to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to come on this microphone and sound like I'm some wise know-it-all. And that it's okay to evolve and change your perspective, and it's okay to share the journey with people, and it's okay to want to pivot and not exactly have the answers into how you're going to do that immediately. And I feel like this is a good step in the right direction for me to figure out what this new version of me sounds like, or what the podcast is going to evolve to. Like we're just there with it. So I wanted to be honest about it. So if you've listened this far, I appreciate you for being here as always. I promise you I am good. I know after the last episode and then coming into this episode, like I don't want things to feel heavy, and I don't want anybody to be worried about me. Like I'm sincerely fine. And for the people who are in my life, who are close to me, who have checked on me, like I love you so much. And I so appreciate you. And I promise you that I am good. I'm just in a transition right now. And it's cool and it's exciting and I don't know. I'm enjoying it, and I'm also scared of it. So we're just going to figure it out as we go. But I appreciate you for listening and being here as always. And if this resonates with you in some way, let me know. I actually would really love to connect with you in that way and just hear other people's perspective and what they think about this and how they feel. And it would really mean a lot to me to hear from you all and get your thoughts. So if you're listening, can you comment or DM me or both, please? And just tell me like what you're thinking. I think that would be helpful and healing for me in a way. And I would like your feedback, honestly. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you as always. I will see you in 2 weeks.